So a couple of days ago, I woke up to the news that Agnes Varda had passed away. I've been aware of her as a director for a while now, but she's someone whose work I've never actually seen. I guess we'll get to why later. But I saw the way that people were eulogizing her and talking about the effect that she had had on their lives, and this seemed like as good a time as any to try something new. So from the admittedly brief bit of reading that I've done, Agnes Varda was a Belgian-born French film director whose work helped define the French New Wave and expanded well beyond it. Okay, so yeah, I've never seen any of her films, and part of that is just, you know, films, there's quite a lot of them. Like, I've also never seen anything by Truffaut or Cassavetes or Herzog or Fellini or Spinder. Okay, one of those was a Pokemon. But yeah, there's like a lot of films out there, and I've not been around that long, like, I'll get to it. Anyway, another reason that I haven't seen her films is that they combine two versions of what I'm gonna call film broccoli.
This looks new.
Think it's safe?
What is it? Okay, caution.
That is, films that I enjoy once I have them, but will probably not seek out. In this case, the two are foreign language cinema and documentaries.
That is not brightly colored or shaped like a dinosaur. Hold on, guys. It's broccoli! Yucky!
I know she didn't only make documentaries, but yeah. So yeah, I decided to watch anyway, which brings me on to the big question: where do I start? Like, this is difficult with any director, but when a person has been making things longer than you've been on the planet... Agnes Varda directed 24 feature films, almost all of which have very cool French names. Le Petit Amour, Le Enchant, L'Autre Passe. How am I doing? This one is called Lion's Love. That's in English and that's badass. The BFI says to start with Cleo from 5 to 7. And far be it from me to say they're wrong, that does sound very good, but I'm also not gonna do that. Because I think the answer to trying any new director is to start with what looks interesting to you. And what looked interesting to me was actually Agnes's latest film, which, as it turns out, is beautiful. Faces Places is about two artistes, thank you, filmmaker Agnes Varda and photographer Jean Reno, as they travel to various villages in France, getting to know the locals and creating pieces of work that celebrate their lives. Okay, that's what it's about. So, what's it about? Age, companionship, life, and the places that it leads us. All good things, thank you very much. This thing was far less linear and far more leisurely than I think I expected it to be. When I first heard French artistic documentary, I didn't expect to get the relaxed tone you see on the BBC, but it's like this little buddy road trip film. Agnes is 88 at the time of this, and I think that Jean Reno is like 33. She has lived his time more than twice over, and yet she never talks down to him or belittles him, and he is respectful of her as a person who has clearly lived a different life to him, and as an artist who has been shaped by those experiences. Both of them are so in touch with their own curiosity and willing to feed the others, and I really liked it.
On ne s'est pas rencontrés.
Au dancing.
Anyway, we'll get a bit more into it after a quick word from our sponsors. This video is brought to you by The Secret Thing. Hey, do you feel the need to constantly reinforce your value to the people around you? It sounds like you need The Secret Thing. The Secret Thing is a message we found deep, deep within the desert rainforests of the Bermuda Triangle. It's an ancient message left behind by ancient civilizations. Ancient. Some say it's where they draw all of their powers. When we asked what powers they had, no one could give us an answer. Regardless, we spent years translating it, gathering the top minds, and found out that it reads: one egg, 150 grams of flour, 2 tablespoons of melted butter, 3 tablespoons of sugar, 1 teaspoon of salt, and a dollop of yogurt. It's a pancake recipe? Also, you don't have to prove yourself to be worthy of love. If you're here and you're trying, that's enough. Also, you should really try putting a dollop of yogurt in your pancake mix. I swear to God, it will change your life. It makes them so creamy. We spent so many years working on that. Why? There are charities in the description doing good work. You can help them do that work if you would like to. That would mean a lot to me. Okay, thank you all. Okay, and we're back. This film seems to be exploring size and scale in a way that really connected with me. So Agnes and Jean Reno spend a lot of time taking portraits of the villagers that they meet, and then pasting them as these giant pieces on walls and buildings. They're taking people that have lived arguably very small lives and making them huge. And something I loved about this film is that it's willing to explore the different reactions that people have to that. Some feel a sense of gratitude, some feel pride, and some feel a sense of unease. And I think these are all natural responses to seeing yourself, or at least a version of yourself, that's been amplified. You are invited to gaze upon every tiny detail, as is everyone else.
Moi j'ai travaillé à côté, donc de voir les gens me prendre en photo tous les jours, c'était assez gênant. Après, ce qui a été agréable, c'est les compliments, parce que tout le monde m'a dit « Oh, elle est jolie cette photo ». Donc ça, c'est agréable. Mais moi, je suis plutôt timide et donc ça m'a mis assez mal à l'aise, quoi.
Oh zut, moi j'aurais aimé que ça vous fasse plaisir.
Ça fait quand même assez bizarre de voir sa photo sur Internet, sur Instagram, partout, c'est assez bizarre, quoi.
This also plays into the sense of permanence that comes with art, with photography, and even more than that comes with the modern age. It's not just having your image documented, it's having what is arguably somebody else's perception of you made permanent and made public.
Ce sera relayé sur les réseaux sociaux. Ce soir.
The waitress in the coffee shop is not just a waitress in a coffee shop anymore. Now she is also this projection and all associations that people will have with it. That's a lot to put on a person who's just trying to serve you a cappuccino. And the film also looks at the result of this. Agnes talks about possibly remembering the photographs of an old friend better than she can remember the friend himself. The projection overrides the memory, it becomes the person. You could argue that Godard's reluctance to appear in the film is for fear of the same thing. The fear of being reduced to a character rather than a person. Seemed like kind of a crappy way to go about it though. Anyway, it all seems to be the film saying this: we are transient. No one is free from that, and everyone is going to respond differently to it. This seems to sit at the heart of Jean Reno's reluctance to remove his sunglasses. He has placed a very clear, very definitive barrier between himself and the world, while Agnes seems to live her life with much more openness. Just like her art, she finds beauty in nakedness, and her desire to see his eyes seems to be much more than a simple curiosity. I think she knows that the barrier works both ways, and she wants him to see the world as she does, if only for a moment. She wants him to see her eyes just as much as she wants to see his.
Je savais pas que tes yeux ils étaient aussi clairs.
Moi je te vois pas très bien, mais je te vois.
I'm going to avoid making any definitive statements on the life or the work of Agnes Varda, but it was inspiring to see a person who seemed to have such a genuine excitement for everything that the world had to offer, and such a strong desire to show us the value in ourselves. Thanks, Agnes. Okay, another one down. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed that. You can check out some of the others if you want to. They vary in quality. And hey, I want to try something. I like taking photos, in case you didn't know, and I usually post them to my Patreon, but I have some new ones, and I want to do something a little bit different with them. So, there are charities in the description. Take a look, pick one. Donate £2 or more, one-time donation to any of them. DM me your confirmation on Instagram or Twitter, or send a raven, I don't know, and I will send you a link to the set of photos. They look kind of like this. You can use them as phone backgrounds, or I think they're high resolution enough if you want to print them. Do whatever you like, I'm not your dad. Point is, let's try and do something cool. If we raise £50, not that much, I will just post the whole set publicly, yes. If this goes well, we'll make it a regular thing, I don't know. Okay, cool, I'm done, I'm sleepy. Have a good one.